ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Anime Watch Club, a bi-weekly group discussion and review where the hosts of the Wasting Anime podcast nominate and vote on shows either we haven't seen or shows that hopefully lead to a great discussion. On today's episode, 5 dudes are going to talk about 5 girls going through some shit. And as we discuss the 2019 anime, O Maidens in your Savage season. So let's meet today's grown-ass men. First up, he thought losing his V-cards when you use your debit card to buy V-Bucks in Fortnite. We got Kat. Kat, how's it going?
What the yeah, I'm doing great. I shamefully have played Roblox. Wait, no, you're talking about Fortnite.
Shit.
Well, I said Fortnite.
Yeah. Damn, you just told on yourself even more.
Dude, that was talk about an unforced error.
Yeah, I played Roblox when I was fucking
24.
old.
Yesterday?
I haven't played Roblox since I was 13, dude. Like,
I don't think it released when it was. Whatever. We'll get. Okay, whatever. Next up, inspired by the show, he's starting his own chain restaurant called Five Queens Pork and Beans. We got Jay. Jay, how's it going?
I don't like beans, so that's like a conflict of interest for me.
interesting.
Oh yeah, a fellow bean hater. Let's go.
But it rhymes with Queens, and I didn't have anything else.
Don't you? But you're such a big Beantown fan, Pat.
Sheen. Clean.
Those aren't food items. This is a Five Guys joke.
Okay.
Cream.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's probably the best
Obscene.
one. Yeah,
also not a food item.
It is.
All right, cool. Our first moderator tonight. He got no maidens in his Savage season. We got Miles. Miles, how's it going?
That was true. I dedicated my Savage season to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point during this show. So
Hell yeah. And Pat.
Yeah. That was a really good one, Pete.
Thank
well
you.
done. As Pete said, we're talking about O Maidens a Savage season, done aired in summer of 2019, done by Studio Le Deuce. That's probably Le Duce or something else.
It's French for two.
Oh, okay.
Trois?
No, it's definitely not.
Trois, three. Whatever.
Yeah, it's not spelled like deux. But anyways, it's based off a manga, genres of drama, romance, a theme of school, and the demographic of shonen. So yeah, let's get right into it. And Miles, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, one, it's missing the genre of love polygon, and it should have that. And that's the single best genre, and no one dislikes it. Anyways, so I pretty much got what I expected from this show. The only thing that was different than what I thought going into this, having heard Pete's opinion and Mother's Basement's opinion on this show, was that it was like a little more comedy oriented than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like, it's dramatic, but like, I guess less humorous. And I think humor is like obviously a good way to broach like the subjects of puberty, because it's like a funny time, especially in retrospect, so I did like that. I enjoyed the show. I think it's funny. I've seen some like conversations online, and if teenagers, mostly women, talking about puberty and sex makes you uncomfortable, the show will not be for you. And if that is not something that would bother you, then you will probably enjoy the show. It's a good show. I liked it. I would probably recommend it to people who like this sort of coming of age story with little the hijinksy sort of stuff.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Kat, what about you?
Yeah, my first impressions of the show were that I came into it not knowing what I wanted, not knowing what the show was going to be. So I was just like, oh, cool. Like the synopsis felt like this was either going to go into like a really heavy, like, not necessarily classroom elite drama, but like I just wasn't sure what I was going into. I was pleasantly surprised by what it gave me, and I really liked the coming of age story. I definitely recommend it to anybody that's past most of their puberty, just because I feel like people who would be like in the midst of puberty would feel a little weird about it. Well, they might resonate with it. I don't know. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it for most people.
I get what you're saying there, where a lot of the stuff might not land for someone that's currently going through it. That's actually a very interesting perspective. I didn't even like think about it until you said it that way. But Jay, what about you?
Yeah, so kind of echoing a similar thing to Miles. The first thing that I would say is that my first impression, well, first off, I was watching the dub, and the dub for this is really solid in my opinion and really enhanced the humor aspect of it. I kind of figured it was going to be a pretty funny thing going into it because, like, while those periods of our time of our lives rather are very dramatic, like they're dramatic in like a melodramatic way that's, humorous for our sort of age group looking back at it in a lot of ways. And there's just a lot of humor in those growing pains and stuff like that. I mean, in the first couple of episodes, we have an incident that I think pretty much everybody here can relate to, at least in some way, maybe not as devastating as what happened to the character in the
It was
show.
so close. He almost did it perfectly.
Yeah, I think that the relatability of this show is super high. So, like, this is something that I would recommend for pretty much everybody if you're somebody who has a wide taste in anime and is willing to give it, like, non shonen a shot, or non like battle shonen a shot. You'll like this. Like, it's funny. It's got heart. It's got a good dub. The only thing I wish is that it was not on High Dive.
Oh my god! I used to be a high dive champion. It's so bad now.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
They downgraded it so much. Actually, it's kind of insane. Like,
yeah.
I had to
People
go and
already didn't like it.
I had to go and search for the series every single time
Yep.
I booted up because it wouldn't continue. And then, like, in the menu, you can click on the episode you just watched, but it doesn't have like the drop down like Hulu or Netflix or whatever to go to the next one. It's so bad. Anyways,
It's yeah. So Pete, Jay, and I, as we all live in the same household, completely
exactly. We're a throuple.
legally use the same high dive account.
Yeah.
And it is all of the like recently watched is frozen on whatever Pete watched before they changed like how they did things. Then you have to go in the settings to find your watch lists, which is the settings for the watch list. It's so bizarre. And then there's like a plan to watch and then like a favorite, and there's like two different watch lists that feel I don't know. High dive, chop.
Oh, my favorite is that on my Roku TV, whenever I hit add to watch list, it goes, "No, motherfucker, what are you even thinking? Go on to the website if you want to, or the app if you want to make a watch list. Why would you think you could do that on your TV, you fucking peasant?"
It's crazy.
You
It really
dumb
is.
bitch.
And
I don't know. I like High Dive.
the mobile app is so bad too for like downloading episodes and trying to watch. Like it
Welcome to
It's-
High Dive
it's-
Fan Line.
it's like it's laughably bad.
It's so
and like
bad.
I know everyone loves to shit on Crunchyroll. At least their app works, man. Like for me, I've had issues where sometimes subtitles don't pop up or whatever, but at least it works and you can download episodes to watch at a later date and not have that issue. At least I've never had that.
I don't
like how it does a multi-million-dollar level company not have a that relies on streaming, not have functioning apps? You would I don't know the full back end of stuff, but it's crazy to me that like one dev over the course of like 2 months wouldn't be able to figure this out. And this has been an ongoing problem for what, like
Years.
6 years? Well, years with
it's
High Dive,
not-
but like
I don't know. It's like it's much worse now for like a year. Like I liked High Dive. It was janky, but I liked it more than Crunchyroll before Crunchyroll did their latest update and before High Dive did their latest update. I liked High Dive more. Now that wasn't a popular opinion, but I feel like it was reasonable. But now it's just it's insane. It's fucking awful. But you know what wasn't fucking awful? O Maidens in their seventh season. I think we all enjoyed that. Pat, did you do your first impressions yet?
no, I didn't. I was.
Can you do
gonna go
those
off
real
my
quick? Yeah,
soapbox.
no, I get it.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
Pete didn't either, and for some reason
Yeah.
I thought he did. So let's go back to that. But I feel like we all had to get this off of our chest.
They have
It
to get shit off
sucks.
the
It is.
chest. I don't know
It
what
is
you're talking about.
awful.
It's so disappointing. Like, it's the one job. Like, imagine if YouTube just didn't load videos when you clicked on them sometimes, or
Can't
you
saw
could
the high dive check clear.
like I don't get it. It makes no sense at all. That like, oh god, like
Okay, Pete, those are your impressions on High Dive. What are your
Yeah,
impressions on
Pete,
having to
sorry.
watch it on the show
Yeah.
we watched on it?
I won't add on to the high dive pile because everyone knows my issues with it, but I love O Maidens. This is on my rewatch, and there's a couple things I really noticed for my first impressions about this. While this is a story about 5 girls essentially going through their issues with like puberty and sexual stuff, I noticed that they did actually touch a lot on like the guy's perspective too, which is something I kind of like forgot watching this 4 years ago, that was a focal point of the show itself. So just like first impressions, I thought like this show did a great job at sort of showcasing both sides, but like through the eyes of the female cast. So really enjoyed like that perspective. And yeah, I mean, this was my number 8 show of 2019. Like I really like O Maiden. So I would just say honestly, if you like any hint of romance, I would recommend this show to you. I think it does a lot of things different than typical romances, and just like stuff like the dialogue was great. I know people said like when I was looking at reviews that they said like this show is cringe. Guess what? They're in high school. It's supposed to be cringe. Like they're supposed
No
to
way.
they're supposed to be over dramatic and unreasonable and dumb in these situations because they're figuring it out. And I think the show showcases that very well. So I would absolutely recommend the show.
why solve your problems when you can just run away from them, right?
Yo, I do that all the time still.
You comically sprint away. Yeah. No, I get it. I agree with you too, that it's like, it was I don't know. That was one of my main frustrations with the early episodes, I would say. But at the same time, again, that's like, okay, they're high school girls, whatever. Gonna run from their problems. It just felt like oh, well, we don't know we don't want to progress the story yet. So we're going to make them run away. But that doesn't really explain my actual thoughts on the show. I also enjoyed it. I don't know if I would recommend this to everyone either, though. Like, I wouldn't recommend this to like your run of the mill everyday like anime watcher. I would really leave it for the more people in our vein, I guess. Of like, oh, they watch stuff critically, or they are looking for something that might change their perspective. I know this is a shonen show, but it definitely doesn't feel like it's targeted to like, what was it? What's shonen technically? 12 to 16-year-old men. Like I can
Yeah,
see
teenage boys.
Yeah, whatever young teenage boys. Like I don't know, like I can see how it could be viewed by them and enjoyed and seen by them, but I don't really feel like it's something on their level, on that like demographics basic level of interests. But I really did like it. I thought the characters were the strongest part of the show, with their dialogue between each other. Like Jay said, the dub was so good and incredibly well localized. I would recommend this to the people that I said before, like us basically, or people in our community, people that are like watching seasonally shows, but not your generic battle shonen watcher, I guess, or just anime consumer in general too. So yeah, I think that's 5 recommendations from us. So go check it out. And I guess we'll get into spoilers. Not that it's too spoiler dependent of a show, but if you don't want to hear some of the ways that these girls resolve their savage seasons, then give it a pause and come back later. But yeah, Miles, you have a little quick synopsis, and then you're going to start us off, I think, right?
Yeah, so we follow the literature club of a school and the members of it. There are 5 members. So we have Kazusa, who I guess like in my mind is the main character.
Yeah.
Do we all like agree with that? Okay, cool. And then, her friends, Rika, who is like the president of the literature club and like kind of uptight. Momoko, who's like her best friend and is for a while just trying to like figure some stuff out and along for the ride. And we figure out why that a little bit later. Hitoha, who is an aspiring author and gets into some shenanigans with a teacher, as we will explore. And Niina, who is, I guess, kind of in a way a foil for Kazusa in some ways. She likes to act like mature and stuff. She ends up being a romantic rival for Kazusa at one point, and she has like her own like backstory and stuff. And so they're all friends and stuff though. It's like not incredibly antagonistic except for like towards the climax. But we just go through like their various shenanigans and everything like that. So the way that I thought we would break this down is by going through the characters like one by one, and then at the end just like talking about the confluence of it and anything else that hits us first. So I guess the place that makes the most sense to start is Kazusa, as she is the main character. Kind of, they're all the main. You guys know what I mean. She's the primary of the main characters, and her main arc storyline is she has a childhood friend named Izumi, and as they're growing up, they sort of learn that maybe they're like attracted to each other, and figuring out how to do that and how to deal with the old feelings of being kids together, but like a budding sexual attraction towards each other and like a romantic interest, understanding that the other one in their friendship also like views sex and it's not like a just them sort of thing is where they starts off. So does anybody have some thoughts on Kazusa's general arc before if we want to start off? Jay.
Okay, sure.
You looked like you were going to say something. If you don't want to talk, I can. But
no, I can go ahead. Sure.
Okay, cool.
So Kazusa's arc with what was his name, Izumi, was pretty interesting in my opinion. I think that it definitely covered a lot of it's a very familiar story in terms of like American coming of age stories with like, boy and girl, childhood best friends. Growing up, they don't really see each other as like anything different from each other, but as they grow older, they sort of realize the differences between the sexes, at least between those two, and like the different things that life will have in store for each of them, as well as like eventually discovering the physical differences and the sexual differences that cause them to come together a bit. I guess I kind of have a question for the rest of you guys. Maybe one of you can bounce off of it if you want. How did you feel about like Izumi and Kazusa's relationship? Did you think it was like well done? Did you feel like they had been like organic friends for a while, or did it feel kind of like, did it feel forced to you or whatever?
I
Go ahead, Kat.
Okay. I thought that the relationship was done fairly well, especially with the fact that Izumi wasn't being touted as like the type of I guess it's just recency of like some of the anime that have been circulating, some of the anime that I've watched, but he's not a type of guy similar to Rudy, which is a positive thing. It's lower than the bare minimum, but like still, I also like that he wasn't just I love women, I love ogling them. It was my special interest is trains, but I'm going through all this stuff. But at the end of the day, like anytime there's a train that's mentioned, I go on about stuff because I've still got that part of my personality. And I love how Kazusa understood that even though she knows more about Izumi, she's not safe, and it's just kind of like that mix of emotions that they kind of grow out of. I really enjoyed that aspect of their relationship.
I had a question. I also really like their relationship too. I thought that they established how they were connected earlier on in life and how they like actually mesh as people as well. Like it makes sense that they're friends. It makes sense that they like each other, blah, blah, blah. I thought that was cool. I just had a question, like in the episode where they like become boyfriend and girlfriend, I don't know if this was just again because of the way it was translated into the dub or not, but like his confession didn't really read as a confession to me. It was like it almost more felt like a friend zoning, and then suddenly they were dating. Did anyone else feel that way after the first watch?
Yeah. So the moment where it becomes a confession is where he steps on her shadow. Where to me that was him sort of like defining that he actually did want to like pursue something, but he was like still maybe a little bit confused, right? Because he's like, I'm not sure what I think about you. I have all these feelings. You know, you're like a little sister to me and a big sister to me, but like also I am a little bit attracted to you. But they had just done that whole like she was planning on stepping on his shadow, right? But then like because of the legend they told, so then he does that, right? So he does it, and so that's him saying, let's give this a go. You know, let's try to make this work. You know, which I thought was like pretty cool.
Okay, I must have
yeah.
missed that. Like that with the I guess the specific moment, but yeah, it was just weird because like the literal words out of his mouth were like, or
Yes,
the dub
and I
was
think
like,
that's intentional because that dynamic of what exactly are we, how are we going forward? Does he actually secretly like Niina more than me? Like moves forward from that moment, right? To answer Jay's question really quick, I didn't think it seemed forced because, and I think like the defining moment of this for me is when maybe Niina is like pushing them together to like avoid her own feelings for Izumi, and she's like, oh, you should like buy him a train, you should do that, and like she's upset that other people know this stuff about Izumi, but she knows what type of like era and models of trains that he likes because they're so close and connected. And so she's like, I can one up that. And like, here's your favorite train more so, you know, it's like if someone was like, oh, Miles, here's an Alakazam Pokemon card versus like any Pokemon card or whatever.
Taking
But
notes.
for trains. Yeah. If anyone wants to give me a gift, you know, so I don't know. That's my thought. Pete, do you have thoughts on this before we kick it back to Jay for his thoughts?
No, I actually really liked it because I thought like it was initially awkward because it reminds me of like my high school girlfriend where we were like really good friends for like 5 years before diving into like being a boyfriend girlfriend. And like when we were boyfriend girlfriend, it was so awkward. Like it took us weeks to sort of like figure it out where it's like, okay, like we're dating now. Like I can kiss you. It's like, oh, I never did that before. So it's like, I like their progression of going through being friends to like being like, you know, holding hands was such a big deal in the show because it's like you never did that for the whole time you knew each other and now you're doing it. So it's like, yeah, it's
Where they
awkward. Yeah. It's like that too. It's like
mood.
all of that is just like I was just like, oh my god, junior year of high school is hitting me right now. Yeah, I really like the relationship.
sick flex.
Yeah. So Jay, did you think it was like forced, or did you just think there was like potential for us to see it that way? I'm curious.
No, I didn't really think it was forced. I thought that there was maybe some potential there. I think that whenever it comes to writing like childhood friends specifically in any television show or writing in general, it can be hard to sort of nail down those vibes of that these characters actually really know each other. And I think that the examples that you all gave, like of her knowing like Izumi's into like retro trains specifically, like that sort of thing, I think that really helped out quite a bit in my like perspective of their relationship.
Yeah, because you can't like. It's hard to be like to fit. We have been friends for years into characters that you get 12, 20-minute segments of when they're not. You know, you don't get to see all of that development. So it takes like skill in writing, right, to like make it seem like they have known each other, even though we, the viewer, were not there for it. But I do think they do that pretty well. So there's a scene early on in this arc that I think we might all kind of want to talk about, and I think this also.
two.
Okay, which one are you thinking of?
Well, they
like,
tie into each other, I guess.
Okay, so
it's the scene after the scene.
Okay. You know, oh yeah, there's yeah, okay. Then I think this is sort of like it shows the friendship that they sort of have because she walks right into his room without knocking, like she belongs there.
He left the door open though too, like kind of his fault.
I think it was closed, right?
Yeah, it was closed. It was cracked.
Oh, it was cracked. Okay,
it was cracked open. So like that's
you got to reduce suspicion a little bit though, right? Because if it's all the way closed, then maybe you'll.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, she walks in on him masturbating. And
the hog.
Yeah, he's greasing the gopher, and watching some sort of train porn, and
I forgot it was train porn.
yeah, which like for sure
It's on
is
brand.
gonna involve
It
some amount of non-con, but like whatever.
It was multiple dudes on the train too, so it was a train on multiple levels.
Oh wow.
Oh,
He was greasing the trails or not trails, tracks, greasing the tracks.
Yeah.
Switching the rails,
um,
oiling the
it's-
tracks.
and so there was a few things about this scene that I liked. One, I was very impressed initially with his ability to just be like,
What's that?
nothing happened. Just play it off like nothing happened. But he gets a little too into that and forgets to turn the porn off.
Yeah.
So he's too committed to the bit, you know? And so I was watching it and I was like, okay, good job. You know, just put your shirt over your thing. Just look, just act like nothing weird has happened. Okay, turn off the porn. Oh my
Put it in your
God.
waistband, dude. Put it in your waistband.
And then it just never happened. And she ran away. And Pat, I'm going to say this is a case where her running away makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that was one of the acceptable ones. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
But this sort of is the scene that like kicks off them seeing each other in like a more sexual way kind of thing. This and the scene after it, Pete, if you want to talk about that one.
Yeah, because it's like we go through different stages of like how they view sex in this show. And like this is the key point of Kazusa's character, where like everything she sees is somehow sex related, even if it's not. And I just thoroughly enjoyed sort of like, Mr. Wong's Chinese food or something, or like, like Big Ball Soccer Emporium or whatever like that. Like she's running past all of these different things where it's just like everything is sex on your mind. Cause like when you're at that age, it's like things start changing in your brain and you start wanting new things. And I thought like that was like a great moment where everything sort of just like clicks in her head where it's like, oh shit, I'm at that age now where this sort of thing happens. And like, I don't know if anybody can like recall that certain point in their life, but like it happens to everybody. And like sort of just showcasing that. And then like the actual train going through the tunnel at the end. And she's like, it won't fit. And then she's like, oh, it does fit. It's like, I don't know. It's like all of that is just like compiled into like this realization of like, we're no longer kids anymore. Like we can have sex. We can start doing different things as teenagers now. And I really like how that showcased like sort of that mindset and that emotion of Kazusa's character.
I need to say the waiting 12 episodes from like the train going through the tunnel, her standing above it and like not in the train or whatever, and like her being like, how will this work, and like freaking out to the end when like they've matured a bit and they've like come to accept these things, and it was just like the very calm last line of the show, it fit, is so funny to me. I died.
It's so good.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I don't know. Kazusa, I think, had like a relatively cheery experience during all of this. Like her looking at panties was kind of fun. It kind of like reminded me of like going to buy condoms or something like that, where it's like I would like go into like a store and like be like, okay, does it have self checkout? No.
Buy 6
and
items.
Like you just, how'd those get? I guess I'll buy them anyway. It's just like very,
How
like
did this get in here? This isn't mine.
Yeah, I don't have sex. That's me.
Oh, I'll pay it forward.
But it just, I don't know. I thought like that was like a pretty relatable scene where you're sort of like looking at sex related objects that aren't inherently sexual. Like, I guess, like, I mean, they are, but like not in like a, I don't know. Like they don't make you horny, but like when you're a teenager, I don't know, they kind of do. Like
in the context of where they're being presented, they're not.
Yeah, exactly. It's like not actually like lewd or anything because it's not, it's just like a pair of underwear or whatever. But like
eggplant.
Yeah, in your head, it's so connected.
Yeah.
It just reminded me of being a teenager like a lot.
Yeah, I guess this is where I out myself. I never had that issue because my mom taught sex to a lot of people, so I just grew up in a household where we just had a wooden dildo that showed people how to put on condoms. I was never in in that situation because anytime there was anything that aroused me, it was actually overtly sexual. So
Well, okay, someone's not into pornophilia. But that is okay. Well, Cat got it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Jay, relatable for you or no?
Uh,
Are you more
Man,
of a cat?
can I tell you? One time when I was in school, I was reading *The Fault in Our Stars* by John Green. Have y'all ever seen or read that?
yes.
Anyway,
that pay
I
off
was
for you?
Oh yeah, no, I was reading it in math class, and I got to the part where they're about to have sex, and I started crying, and I was people thought I was crying because it was sad because there's a character with two characters with terminal cancer in the book. No, 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 good sir. I was crying because children with cancer were getting laid and I wasn't. I was that horny.
You turn into like Randy from South Park in that the medicinal fried chicken
Buffalo
episode where
Soldier.
Yeah.
where it's like, man, if I just get a little, I'm just gonna get a little cancer, Stan. Don't worry, just so I can
Yeah.
get laid. And that-
So there. Okay, no, that okay. There was a not my school, but my best friend's school had a kid who had cancer. And he asked a girl out, and she said no, and he said, "But I have cancer." So like,
now they're married.
I don't know that they're not. They never
Oh.
dated. She was like, "I don't care." But which good for not being
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, okay. So we've talked about Kazusa a lot. There's like a lot of intricacies to talk about these characters, and so Pete, being the great host of this podcast that he is moving us along. So we are going to talk about Niina next. Niina intertwines a bit with Kazusa, as in she is also attracted to Izumi. So Niina, I really liked. She presents herself as sort of wiser than she is. When we first meet her, she is, like she's the one who like brings up sex, like she's not afraid of it and is super mature, and she has this like very teenage talk about how like in the grand scheme of the universe, like humanity has barely lasted any time, and like my life is a fraction of that, so I'm going to die soon. It's like it's like a Kesha song or something. And what I really liked about her is at the end of this, like the girls look up to her and listen to her. She's like popular and pretty, and she comes off as wise. And she was just like, when she says something that was like contrary to what she had been saying at the beginning, she was just like, "Yeah, I'm stupid. I have no idea. I was just saying that stuff to sound cool. Fuck you." Like, you know. So I don't know. I really found Nina relatable because like when not that I've completely grown out of this, but like when I was a teenager, definitely, I tried to be like, I bought a copy of Gravity's Rainbow for no fucking reason. Like I'd ever read that book. And, just like trying to be cool and like wise and smart and like feel like I have everything under control, right? Like I feel like that's another very common teenage thing. I forgot a major part of Nina's story. And it's because I tried to block it out of my brain. She also has like an acting teacher who's like literally just a pedophile. Like he's like, "Yeah, I'm a pedophile." Like he's not even like he's just like, "Yeah." Like
He's a
I'm
systemic pedophile too,
Yeah.
not just like a one-off.
Oh, yeah.
He's a
Systemic.
Hollywood elite.
Yeah, he's
100%.
yeah.
100%.
And so she has this thing where he was like definitely attracted to her when she was like a young kid, but like never acted on it, but that like sort of like confused her a bit about like what attraction is and like what love is. And at the end, she punches him in the fucking face, and it's great. Yeah. So what do we think about Nina's arc? There's a lot of really interesting stuff here, in my opinion, but I got to do the explanation. So if anyone else has some points they want to bring up about Nina, please do.
I'll be quick just because Nina was probably my least favorite character of the five, but I did enjoy sort of like her when she said like she's going to die soon and she wants to have sex, I sort of took that as like becoming an adult. Like a lot of people view like once you have sex, like you're an adult type of thing. And so I kind of viewed it as she's been grown up into this world where like she's been viewed as like very sexualized. Like you said, a grown man like fiending over her. And I felt like she was just trying to like get out of that phase in her life, and then having sex would do that. And sort of like I don't know if it was like a mindset where it's
Yeah.
just be like, okay, now I had sex, now I'm an adult, now I don't have to like view this as like a child anymore. When really
I don't
like
have to worry about this guy
Yeah,
who's
exactly.
preying on me anymore.
Yeah. So like I did enjoy sort of like that mindset that she was running through, and sort of how she was dealing with some of the issues. Like the fact that like a lot of the times where like she had like the bully with like stepping on like her notebook, and she's just like, well, if I do something, it's just going to cause more problems. If I don't do anything, then it won't cause more problems. So I'm just not going to do that. I was like, yeah, I like that. Like it's when she does try to act mature, she actually, I feel like there's parts where she actually is mature, and like that was one of the scenes that it was. But like kind of just
I agree.
kind of just like how she went through the motions was chaotic. I did feel like I don't think anybody of us has been in a situation like that, so it's like it's hard to describe, but like just like sort of how she just went through the motions of having all that happen to her, and sort of like where she is now. I felt like she was like a good person for the most part, and added like the right amount of chaos and drama in this story that was needed.
This one time at band camp, yeah, no, just kidding. I have not, obviously have not had anything anywhere relatable to her. But I agree with you, Pete, that she seemed to be as mature as she put off, just less less confident or cocky than she actually is. Like she's probably the most mature out of the whole group, I would say, right? Like
I don't know.
I don't think
I
she
mean,
I don't
is.
think so.
No? You don't
she's
think
like
so?
definitely the pettiest out of all of them, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, and like she has her reasons and everything, but she goes through like a whole little Joker arc there, you know, the end.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I guess this is where my psychopath comes out. Like she's doing what she's being selfish, but she's doing what she thinks she needs to do to win, so to speak, right? Like
Yeah, there's like levels to that, in my opinion. Like, shoot your shot. Like, I'm not going to say like don't do your thing, and like I don't think Kazusa would say that either. But then like lying about someone molesting you or whatever, so that you can like put that guy's hand on your butt to like try to.
Oh, yeah.
There's levels
No,
to it, you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I would never call that mature.
She sexually assaulted that man.
no,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm not endorsing it. I'm just saying I think that there was a thought or like a methodical approach and thought behind everything she did in those moments. Which
Yeah,
would argue, which would
I wouldn't say that it necessarily is mature as much as it is like,
Conniving.
yeah, like I guess it depends on how you mean mature. Like I sort of mean mature is like accepting the world and understanding your place in it, and like you know, not like your ability to, you know, set up a scenario where you come out on top in like a romantic rival scenario or
I
whatever.
guess.
feel
Yeah,
like-
I get what you're saying.
I feel like Niina was the most clever out of the group. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just definitely not the most mature.
Conniving.
Again, conniving. I feel like the most mature out of the group was probably Kazusa, ironically enough.
Yeah. I mean, they're all immature in various ways, and I think that that's obviously the point, right? I think Kazusa, I think I'd agree with that, Kat. And insofar as she's like probably the most able to be like, I don't really know what the hell's going on here, which is like honest, and you could view that as like being mature. But back to Niina really quick. You know, do we have other like okay, what did we think about her interactions with her teacher? Because they made my skin crawl. I did not like them. I do get that is like intentional and stuff, but it did make me uncomfortable.
Yeah. I agree with you that it's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. I think that like each of the girls in a way sort of represents like this is all about obviously like what like young women's sexual development and how different things can affect that, how different backgrounds and such can affect that. And I think that, like, for Niina and Hondo, who we are going to discuss later, they are both very uncomfortable subjects in a lot of ways, but they are still like realistic subjects that do happen to, I mean, and not just to girls, obviously, but primarily to girls and young women. This sort of thing, being groomed or taken advantage of by an older man, like they're the primary targets of this sort of thing. So I think it was like an important thing to show, like, you know, like it's uncomfy, but the reality of a woman's sexual life is often uncomfortable, sadly. Like it's meant to
Yeah.
show a realistic portrayal of the world in that way. Like frankly, like we're kind of lucky that they didn't have anything more violent going on in this, because, you know, that's just the type of world that we're in, unfortunately.
There's a
Mhm.
scene where Nina is upset that she's not getting like catcalls, even though they bother her, and that's something that I've like heard women in my life know, like sort of like talk about, where like it's like weird where it's unwanted, you do not like it, but you also view it as a sign of being attractive, which of course you do want to be. And so like the absence of them can hurt you, even though it's like a negative thing. And so they sort of dealt with that whole deal, and I thought that was good. I mean, I think there's a lot of things in this, and I know I've probably missed some of them, but I feel like you can just sort of tell the stories written by a woman because of the amount of things that I've heard from women in my life that are mimicked in this. Kat, did you have something on Nina really quick?
Yeah, I really wanted to like Niina. Like I wanted a God. Niina feels like a character out of Scum's Wish, honestly, where she, and I hate Scum's Wish. Where like I want to root for her. I want to root for her to become more mature. I want to root for her to have a good ending, but she continues to choose the bad choices over and over and over again. And that feels like like she doesn't feel comfortable talking to anyone else, and she only wants to wants to figure her stuff out on her own, which is in and of itself extremely immature and extremely dangerous. Like every time I saw Nina on screen, I was like, please choose something better for yourself. And each time I was let down. she's the meme of if like when I die, I want you to carry my casket so you let me down one more time.
I think she gets there at the end. I think that I don't know. She gets there, in my opinion, at least.
I guess I could say this when we get to Momo's part.
Well, let's get to Momo's part. And I know Pete, Momo is your favorite character. So Pete, why don't you kick us off with some Momo topics?
Yeah, I just love Momo because of like the idealization of her character. Like obviously she's gay, like straight up, like not even bi, just like straight up gay. And sort of like her mindset of questioning what is going on in the world, because a lot of my friends that were in high school that were gay, like, you know, like dated the opposite sex and did everything like they thought like the status quo type of thing, where Momo's character was just like trying to figure it out in her brain a lot of times, was just like, I don't find dudes attractive. Like what's like, why aren't I in the same stage as Kazusa or like Niina? And then you know, like some of the other realizations were just like, I think when she like touches Sugawara for the first time and she's like, oh, her skin is so soft, I really like touching soft skin. And all those things like coming into her character, I just thought it was like a breath of fresh air of these type of characters that we see in these types of shows. So I just really liked how she like went through all the problems in her life and how she sort of handled it, where she got really frustrated at points and like she really showcased her frustration, whether it's like protecting Kazusa or the fucking worst character in the show, Sugimoto,
Yes.
he could eat a big old pile of doo doo, but
Jesus.
like I hate him
Not the
so
worst
much.
character.
Oh, he's
I
so
hate him
bad.
too.
Okay, sorry.
He's awful. He's
Sorry,
not the worst
Sorry.
character.
okay. Yes, the director is the worst character. Sorry.
He's not even the second worst character.
No, he's not. Yeah.
No,
just
he's
a
the
dumb
third
boy.
worst character.
Okay. Hot take then. He was my least favorite character. How about
Sure.
that? I fucking hated that dude. It's sort of just how seeing the frustration of her trying to figure herself out while everything was going on was just so well done. I thought just how they handled that frustration was perfect with her character. And I just sort of like resonated with her and really fell in love with like watching her character trying to just figure shit out. And it's just like, I don't want to date boys. I want to go play Street Fighter. It's just like, yeah, just fucking do it. And she did it. It's just, I really enjoyed her character.
Yeah.
I can bounce off that. I did not particularly feel one way or too strongly or the other for her. Like I was kind of like indifferent on her. But I did like what you just mentioned, Pete, like where she's just like, I just want to go play Street Fighter. Like I just want to go do this. Like I have no interest in anything that's going on here. I did appreciate those moments, but that's pretty much all I had on her. At least she's by far not the worst girl in the group, but probably my second least favorite. So
Personally,
Go.
So I bouncing off of what Pete said, I really loved how she kind of came to the epiphany that she was gay after playing Street Fighter and playing as Chun-Li.
Yeah.
Like that was like
we've all been there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Have you ever played Street Fighter 5? All those costumes are there for sex appeal. Anyway, that's the only reason why it's a success now. But
that's not true.
Yeah.
That's not even close to being true.
Is 5 the bad one or is 4 the bad one?
5 is the bad
5 was fine. 5 was perfectly
5 was not
fine.
good.
5 was
5 was
perfectly
not
fine.
good.
It has in the
good when it
comments
first came out.
right? Which one's the bad one? Anyways, Chun-Li is hot. We all agree.
Chun-Li is hot. We all agree.
Overrated.
Shut up.
I don't know.
Shut your mouth.
I don't like her outfit. I'm just never been.
She
It's
wears
never
other
appealed to me.
clothes, Pat.
Okay.
Put her in
She's
whatever.
a police officer.
Oh, don't ruin it. I
it.
didn't know she was a cop. A-Cab, unfortunately.
Why do you have to
Chun-Li.
ruin this for me, Cat?
I suddenly like her a little bit more.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just always been like, she's fine. Like, obviously, she's not. I don't think she's ugly. I'm just like kind of like, whatever. You know, like there's much hotter characters in video games.
You're an
Pixelated
E-Honda guy.
Chun-Li did something to me when I was in first grade.
That's fair.
So I knew for a long time.
Anyway, so I loved that she ended up learning about her sexuality via Chun-Li. I also really liked that. I also really liked that she was the intermediate. Well, not the intermediator, but the mediary between Niina and Kazusa sometimes. And I especially loved the end where she actually got offended about Niina like being super self-destructive, because it was. I also like that Niina is like bisexual, or at least implied bisexual representation. But
Because they're holding hands at the end of the
Is
show.
she?
and, like,
I'm like, I never got that vibe at all.
why? I guess, in my opinion, if you're like walking away with someone and holding hands, I would say it would be so great if an anime, like one time, you had a queer character who got to like unambiguously date someone,
right,
but
that's.
I think the implication is there, right? Like they walk away together holding hands.
Yeah.
If I'm not into someone and they're into me, I'm probably not holding their hand. That's sort of maybe that's just a me thing.
Girls hold
It's
hands
something.
all the time.
It's something that I talked with one of our Discord members, joined the Discord by the way, Veronica, about, where like we both were in agreement that like they definitely were implied to be at least like trying to see each other or trying to get together, but like I definitely wish they would have actually done something with it, like actually be more unambiguous with it. But I liked that Momo was fine. Like, she was trying to learn about herself. She opened up to Niina, even with a super strong sense of like self-preservation and earnest, and being earnest to Niina, and learning that Niina took that and then did something else to and did applied herself to something else that was not even anywhere close to what she wanted.
I agree with you, Kat, that it could have been, it's somewhat implied, but I'm gonna hold true to my like my staying card of, if you don't show it, it's not real. So I'm nothing if not consistent. So
I got
Yeah.
you there, Kat.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's just like, and I get why, but I can see where you guys are coming from though, where it definitely could seem implied.
Yeah, but I'm not saying I generally agree with you. Like, I think it is implied. However, I feel like, I don't know. Kat was saying like, oh, she might be good by representation. Like, I don't know. I don't think so, because like, have her deal with that literally at all.
In the show,
Yeah.
show
Yeah,
any sort of appreciate like interest in the other. Like, I don't know. Like, she almost feels Niina, and I guess this isn't fair to say to her after she literally tried to steal a boy from another girl in the show, but like, she almost feels closer to like an asexual or like representation than she does to me like a bi
I
representation,
wouldn't
just
say
because she
asexual.
doesn't.
I would say
She's sexually
aromantic.
attracted to Izumi.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
literally said
Yeah.
she was sexually
That's why I
attracted.
said, that's why I predated my statement with the entire point that she is interested in. All right, let me rephrase then. Let me try like
Aromantic.
I guess like she
Yeah.
just, that's maybe that's the better word, yeah, or it is the better word, but like she just almost doesn't seem to like care, is the way I would view it, more than that she was bisexual, if that makes sense. That she's kind of just like, I don't know, I'm so scarred by my childhood trauma with this director that I don't really care about the romance. I just want to have sex, or I feel nothing about it. Like that's the other than like the natural urge, I guess. So yeah, I guess that isn't asexual in any way, but like
Yeah. I mean,
aromantic is what I was going for.
That's
I guess I would disagree, but we also don't have like a ton of time to
Yeah.
go back into Niina, sadly. But Kat, did you think of like how you wanted to wrap that up real quick?
I forgot.
That's okay. Jay, do you have Momo thoughts?
Momo thoughts.
Yes.
No, I don't have any super strong feelings about Momo. I thought her. I guess that the main thing that I would say is like, to again also agree with something that Veronica had said in the Discord, that the same-sex relationships were definitely not given the same treatment in this as the straight relationships. And yeah, that is how Japan is. I get that people will say, do that to kind of excuse it, but there's plenty of things that just show openly queer relationships in media, even in 2018. So I don't know. I don't think it's a very good excuse, and I think that the author could have done that better.
Yeah, I guess like for a quick defense of it, at least a bit, is that Momoko is like unambiguously gay, and that is not always done either.
That's true.
And so that is something that I think is done. And the story is sort of about her figuring it out. Now, I agree, everyone else, except some of the other characters get to also have a relationship. They figure out their sexuality, then they get to date someone, or they get to try to sleep with someone, or they get to do these things, right? And Momo just gets to figure out her sexuality, and it's sort of left there. So I agree with your main point, but I've seen a lot of anime where people are like really heavily implied to be queer in some way, and are just, it's never ever committed to. It's like a bit, you know. So Momoko's feelings being taken seriously by her friends and all of that, I think, is a step in the right direction from some of the things that I've seen, at the very least. It's definitely not done perfectly, in my opinion, but I guess some amount of credit potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Hitoha next, please?
Yeah, we can talk about Hitoha next.
All right. Are we ready?
Go off.
Yeah. Oh,
I hate her. I hate her. I was so bored every time she was on screen. I did not find her interesting at all. Fucking, she's awful. She's a terrible person in my, like, I get it. She's trying to learn things. All right, maybe I wouldn't say she's a terrible person. That's like hyperbole. But
She's
like,
worse than a terrible person. She's boring.
Yeah, she's incredibly boring. She's incredibly boring. And yeah, she's very cliche. I'll do that to her. Yeah, she's so cliche. I hate her. Like, I don't know. I was just so disinterested. Like with all the other girl, again, Momoko wasn't like my favorite by any means either, but I at least appreciated like what you guys were just talking about with her discovering herself, the funny ways that or the ways that they were able to show that in the show was really cool. I had absolutely no interest in anything Hitoha had to say, do, write, or whatever in the show, and I was like, I did not like her. I did not. She's not a fan.
She had my least favorite character arc, but not because of her, but because of how. What the fuck is his name?
Yamagishi.
Whatever. Yeah, the teacher. How like he was treated in this, where this fucking child predator gets like a redemption arc, and like I don't know, that just struck me the wrong way. Like I kind of liked Hitoha, but I sort of talked a bit how when I was younger, I always tried to be like smarter than I was and like come off as like more sophisticated and stuff like that, right? So like I sort of like, she's like trying to be an author and she's trying to, have a relationship with a teacher that she thinks is like cooler than he is in like a way. And I thought I thought she was pretty funny in parts, and I thought it was admirable how she was willing to just defend her friend by being like, actually, like I was the reason they were like there and stuff, like with the sex hotel area. Though I don't necessarily think you're wrong for thinking that she was like duller or whatever. Like comparatively, I think that that's probably a relatively popular opinion. Pete, do you have thoughts there?
Oh no, I just don't agree. It was more like obviously like the teacher is like a huge garbage man or whatever. Like I don't agree with his actions, and they were kind of like trying to preface it's like, okay, if I'm gonna be very forward, and if I'm very forward, then she's gonna like not take my advances, and then she does take his advances, and then he's just like, well, I'm still keep doing it until she stops, and then like it doesn't. It's like, yo, my man, you need to stop doing this.
Yeah.
But like I think that's more of a reflection on him as a character.
Yeah, I agree.
Than Hongo. So like I wouldn't say that she was boring. I actually thought she was like really fun, but like I didn't think her arc wasn't like interesting. But she is sort of like, she has gremlin energy, so like I'm
was there ever a resolution to her? Did she learn a lesson?
I was about to say, like, she literally did not change at all by this story, which, maybe that's the point.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
I don't know if it is.
I don't think it is either, but that's why I said it that way. Like, I don't know. She's manipulative, like, and like, I don't know. I didn't like her. My inner hate for just lollies, it's just it's all me, it's all.
Is she
like,
I don't think she's a lolly.
No,
a young
it's
girl.
Like,
No.
I was being facetious because
Though, yeah, I don't know. I mean, she is manipulative, but she's also manipulative because her teacher found her on like a sexting website and like met up with, you know what I mean? Like, and then she like doesn't feel attractive as like, I don't know. Like, she gets the pass in my opinion because as the adult, what you do is you transfer her to a different classroom. You let someone know that like she came on to you in any way. And actually, what you don't do is ever be on those websites as that teacher. I forgot that was how it happened. It wasn't her initiating. That's my bad. That is, yeah. What you do if you're that teacher is find a new fucking job or jump off a cliff. Right. Work for the Archdiocese of Boston. But like, yeah, I don't know. To me, there was the issue where I thought they did a good job with Niina's teacher, where they were like, damn, this is a good teacher. And then she like doesn't feel attractive as like, I don't know. She gets the pass in my opinion because as the adult, what you do is you that guy's a pedophile. And like everyone who hears about him is like, oh my God, that guy's a pedophile. And then he's like, I'm a pedophile. And then this other pedophile was like, I'm a really good teacher, color tag. And everyone's like, yeah, it was awesome. It was just like, wait a minute, you were just you had a high schooler's vagina in your face 10 seconds ago. Like, what is happening here? I don't know. Kat, Jay, do you guys have opinions on this particular little Hitoha arc?
I'll let you go, Jay.
Man, yeah, I don't know, dude. Yeah, she definitely does have gremlin energy. I agree with Pete, but unfortunately, gremlin energy cannot save you from everything, including trying to. I don't know. I don't know what to say, man, because fuck this teacher, but also, like, I don't like what she did in the situation either.
She sexually assaults him multiple times, like in a way, right? Like forces herself on him.
In a way. She just does it.
All right, then fine. Yeah, I'll double down on that statement. I was trying to be like light about it, but like, does she not literally like come on to him or sexually assault him? Like, yeah, she does multiple times.
I don't know.
Like, oh, she's a naive little child, whatever, blah blah blah. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
All right, cool. Learn. She does it multiple times. It doesn't change. She's a bad.
He doesn't push back on it at all.
The other teacher that he marries, because like
that too.
Right.
They're gonna be like 70 years old. He's gonna be like, the guilt has been eating me alive.
I went to that love hotel with Hitoha.
Yeah, exactly.
Then immediately dies.
For me personally, like, I think Hitoha had my favorite character design in the show. I really liked her, like, kind of like Raven eyes. Like, that was really cool to me. It reminded me of Rui from Sing Yesterday for me, which I loved her character design. Didn't really like the show, but or didn't like the ending specifically. But yeah, I really did not like her arc. I loved that she was like probably the most outspoken about her. Well, not necessarily the most outspoken. Definitely the person that rode for her friends the most, being as gremlin-y as she is. But it definitely made me feel the most uncomfortable. Like every time that she would either attempt to sexually assault, allude to sexual assault, or actually sexual assault, it just made me it made my skin crawl. I was not okay with that.
I don't know. Like I don't know. You're not wrong, and maybe I'll have to work through this. My general thought is, as a grown ass man, don't put yourself repeatedly in a position where a young girl
You
is
could
throwing
stop it
herself
at
you.
any time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could-
Exactly. So that's the thing. It's not that it's just her fault. She's a child. You are an adult. But I think it's fair to say that both of them are guilty in this situation.
yeah. Just one's more guilty than the other.
Absolutely.
It's okay. I would say
Felony
they
versus
both make
misdemeanor.
bad decisions, and I blame one of them for it.
Yes.
Is how I would put it.
Agree.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Sometimes kids do dumb things, and you have to be like, "Hey, kid, you're doing a dumb thing. We're not going to do this. You need to stop doing this." As opposed to like encouraging it, especially in this case. Where because he knew what the fuck he was doing. He was like, we have to do it this way to skirt the law. I knew because my high dive didn't have translations. I had to type everything into fucking Google Translate, unless I could just read it. So, which is really quick back to Niina when she was texting Izumi. I couldn't read the first sentence, but I was like, oh, she must just be confessing or something. But then I could read the second sentence, which was, a salary man is touching my butt. And I was like, okay, well, that first sentence was something different than what I thought. And I had to rewind it. Okay, last and not least, at least in my opinion, as I believe she is my favorite, we have Rika, the president, who starts off pretty prudish and discovers that she really likes the guy. Pete, you had some Rika thoughts.
I'll just be real quick. I just enjoy Rika's character as somebody who acts like she doesn't care at all, but when she actually cares the most. And then sort of coming to the realization that it doesn't matter. It just have fun and do what you want to do. And like towards the end of it, she just like more open about her relationship with her boyfriend and stuff like that. But I do enjoy the characters that are just like, I don't care what other people think of me. Oh my God, he said I was cute. And then like sort of realize it's like, oh, I really do care what people think about me. So Rika is like, she's like my third favorite character, third or fourth.
Personally, I think Rika is probably either my first or second favorite character. Mainly just because, like, yeah, she starts out very prudish, but like she eventually realizes that she was the least or one of the least mature in the group, and she starts like backpedaling and understanding more about the world, and she starts she really resonated with me personally, like when it came to like my first relationship with a girl, where I was just like, I tried to be super super cool and super holier than thou and tried to not like hang out, but like in reality I was stressing over every little thing, and I didn't really realize it until it was pointed out to me. And that's exactly what Rika did, and it's just, yeah, I really really like Rika.
Rika's my favorite character. I liked her arc the most. I think I liked her relationship with whatever the guy's name is.
Shun.
Well, yeah, the way that they came together and like flirted and stuff. Like I thought that was really nice, and both characters are just like good people, you know, which is nice. They were cute together. I liked them by far the most. I think Rika's definitely my favorite.
I've also got to really say something real quick. I really feel bad for Sonoe. Like the way, the way that they treated her, like after she got pregnant. I also really like the fact that Sonoe did keep up with Rika. Anyway.
Yeah, their friendship was like pretty cool. Like their budding friendship, where they're pretty different people, and then they start to understand each other and everything. Rika was my favorite for a few reasons. I was a little uptight in high school about rules.
Oh,
and
wow! Couldn't envision that at all.
Yeah, so I went to a Catholic high school. And I was like very like there was a conversation I had with my girlfriend in high school about how she didn't feel attractive because I didn't want to have sex with her, and I wouldn't have sex with her because Jesus, the J man upstairs. But it's sort of like that. It wasn't like a religious thing on her reasoning, but she like seemed to be like all like the impropriety and stuff was like something that I could relate to. But then like also dealing with the fact that like you're a human and all that was sort of fun. Her doing editing the notes that he gave her, like when he did like 80 pages of "you're cute" or whatever, and she like fixed the grammar and the spelling and stuff, is like how I want someone to respond to my confession. Like I love that idea. And it is like her ending it with Yoroshiku on the Gaishimasu is so funny, because that's like it will be nice to be working with you in the future, or like I look forward to like our future like collaboration or something in Japanese. It doesn't like really translate into English very well. It's like a very formal Japanese thing, and it's just I don't even know how someone can like like if you ask someone out and they like ended an email with like like best regards or something. Like I was just like very like that. It was really funny. I really liked how she stood up for Sonoe, like she's like doing something that we consider right. She's like caring about her kid. Like, yes, she made a mistake, but she's like doing what's good. We don't need to like put her down for that. And her just sort of realizing various hypocrisies around like all of these subject matters, I thought were great. She also gets to do the "she's all that" moment, where she just takes off her glasses and lets her hair down, and she's like hot now. And that's like a top tier trope.
Yep.
We also forgot that Hitoha got to do the 10 things I hate about you thing. We had a lot of fun, I guess, like Western rom-com things. I don't know if they were like direct homages, but maybe it shows that there's nothing original in some way. But I really liked Rika. I really liked, honestly, the entire cast. I just had a great time with all these girls. We are running a little long, but let's quickly talk about the moment the show jumps the shark, where they kind of out of nowhere kidnap a teacher in order to get a dating ban lifted from their school, and then they learn about each other's feelings. And I liked that part of it, but they kidnapped a teacher. That was weird. Did everyone think that was weird?
Ransacked the school.
It was a very rushed ending.
Yeah.
Extremely rushed ending, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
I do agree. Ransacking the school's fine. Like, who hasn't? But me either. But like, I know people who did.
Last day of school, throw all your papers.
We just talked about my love of rules.
Okay, there's a difference between throwing papers and like what
Oh.
they did. I mean, come on, like that was crazy. I know it's for the anime, but it was just like, but I don't know. It just felt, out of character. But it was just like, I don't know. They got, I guess they were making their stand, and there's the symbolism with the savage season or whatever, like in the literal sense. But I was just surprised.
Painting some stuff on the school didn't feel too out of character to me. I could see something like that happening in real life. The felony of kidnapping a human, regardless of his quality of one, is sort of where they lost me for a little bit. I get like maybe the other things like yeah, Pete.
I'll just say on my because the first time I watched it, the only reason why I gave it a 9 instead of a 10 was because of the ending. Like I thought it was like rushed. It didn't make sense. On my rewatch, though, to me, it just kind of sort of felt like they needed a way to get everybody together somehow and wrap up everything. And like, that's what they went with. So on my second rewatch, I said, fucking sure. Like, whatever. It was fine.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of ways to get them together.
100%. At that point, I was like, I was just cool with them ending it there. Like, it was fine.
I liked the color tag part. I thought that was like a really neat idea where you got to see people's like relationships with each other by sort of like vague descriptions of color, and like people going to like try to find what that would be. I thought that was neat, though it came from that piece of shit teacher. So honestly, horrible idea. Just the worst. Jay, what do we think about the ending there?
I wasn't really that big of a fan. I think it was a rush job.
Yeah, I do agree, sadly. I liked the ending, but I think that climactic scene was bad. I don't know if that's exactly what you feel like, but
yeah. From what I understand, it's a common complaint about this director in particular, Marie Okada, that there's a lot of like drama for drama's sake. She did like Anohana, IBO, a couple of other things that I can't remember, but
Iron Blooded Orphan.
This is how the manga ends too, by the way.
Yeah, it's only 32 chapters.
She wrote the manga.
Oh, did she?
So
Okay.
This manga was written at the same
yeah.
time as the show was coming out, basically.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
She's been an industry mainstay, and she got to like do that. It's like an acclaimed show and everything, but I do think the ending was like a little.
It felt it definitely felt like a rush job. Was this 12 or 13 episodes? I don't remember.
12.
12.
Yeah, man.
I don't know
one
why I
more
put up 10
episode
fingers.
might have helped out a bit, honestly, but probably not too much for me personally.
I think honestly, you just remove the kidnapping and put in some other plot device that makes more sense.
Okay, Simone asked this at one point we were watching. What happened to literature? It should have ended with them doing like a literature reading or something like that. I don't know, man.
No, it should have ended with her saying it fit, because that's so funny.
No, saying it fit, obviously, yes, that. But like the climax of the drama should have had something to do with literature, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Well, the teacher's a fucking fake teacher. He's not real. And so he was like color tag or whatever, instead of like, let's read Sylvia Plath to each other or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. Fucking bozo.
This director's done a ton
and everyone
of
just
scripts. Sorry to interrupt. My brain just farted.
Yeah.
She's done like all over the place in like everything. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, she's like a big person in the anime space.
And she can't write endings. Tough.
No one can, though. It's a thing that not just anime, but like media is bad at.
Yeah.
In my opinion, at least. Like sometimes it had. What did we pull off the shelf, Pete?
Oh, nothing.
I thought you were got a manga or something.
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, I don't know. I was relatively satisfied with like the characters' individual endings. I do think like the climax was a bit. However, final thoughts and scores. Do we want to go do that? Do we have anything else we want to? Great.
Miles, why don't you start?
We start with me. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. You steal my thunder. I steal yours. We make it work.
Yeah, we got there. I enjoyed this show. I had a good time. I thought it was funny. Some parts of it were like a little ridiculous. Like specifically, again, we talked about it. Like it's like episode 11 and 12, sort of, where they kidnap someone and then like get over it, and then like no one brings up the fact that like he was dating a student or whatever. There's like some stuff just sort of gets like lost in the plot to tie up the other main character stuff, like Momoko and Kazuha and Niina get like a lot more attention than like the Hitoha plot line, and I think that sort of makes it confusing. So because of that, I ended up giving it an 8, but I did very much enjoy it. But 8 out of 10 for me.
All right, Kat, what about you?
Yeah, so my final thoughts kind of align with what me and Veronica talked about. And I'm going to use her words because she worded it a lot better than I would have. So she said that this makes me think of when Erica Friedman talks about parting the gauze curtain, which she describes as a certain class of fury for men that gives the male reader a tantalizing peek into the secret world of girls. And I really, really like that description because, like, she also goes on to say, like, with shoujo manga, women understand that they talk about sex so they can focus on other things. While this being a shonen, it is kind of like trying to balance that, where it's going a little bit further into, hey, women do think about sex, understand that. And I really like the way that she phrased that. For my personal final thoughts, I really did like the show. It was a very fun ride. There was a lot more SA than I was comfortable with, but I'm not really comfortable with SA at all. So that's a thing. But personally, I would probably rate this at a 9 for me personally.
A 9. All right. Jay, what about you?
Yeah, the pros of this, the character writing was really solid. I thought that all 5 of the main characters, and I guess Izumi as well, felt pretty fleshed out and like real people for the most part. They were believable. It reminded me a lot of like my puberty years and beyond, that sort of thing, and how uncomfortable all of that was for me. But I think that some of the cons are that the ending is like the third act of this in general is kind of like a letdown compared to the first 2, in my opinion. Apart from like the time skip, I liked the time skip well enough because it was mostly just fan service. Hongo's arc was a little questionable despite me overall liking her character. And I don't know, the gay couple just not having any sort of like confirmation or anything like that really just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not gonna lie. While I was watching it at the beginning, I really loved it. Like, I thought that the first couple episodes do a great job of hooking you in. The ending is just so bittersweet for me because of how much of a rush job it feels like. That it's a little hard for me to like fully recommend this to somebody in that way. So for me, it's just a 7 out of 10.
There you go. All right, Pete, what about you?
On top of what everyone else said, the one thing I wanted to talk about in my final thoughts was sort of just the male representation of this show and sort of how it was kind of the variety of dudes that you have, because I think everybody experiences this in like puberty in a different way when you're a dude, because like I remember going through phases where it's like, holy shit, I just really want to touch some boobs, like straight up. And there was those guys who like went to karaoke were just like, I want to fuck. I want to fuck. I'm like, yeah, I had that mindset at one point in my life, like for sure. But then I also had like the mindset of someone like Izumi where it's like, man, I actually just like really want like a girlfriend and a partner. And like, if I get to touch boobs, awesome. But like, really what I want is like somebody in my life. And that range of like characterization with the boys in the show, I thought was really cool. And sort of like, even though I hated that Sugi character, him sort of like gaslighting girls into like trying to like get him to date, I feel like worked in high school. And like, he's a huge piece of shit. And I like that they like showcase that as like this teenage, like manipulator trying to get girls. The whole point of like, he was just like, oh, I just want to be friends with you. I respect you. And it's like, actually the whole time he was just trying to sleep with you. And like, I just thought
As soon as
like,
he gets rejected, he's like, "You're a slut."
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
But like, even like when they first met, he's like, oh no, like I know like this was sort of like a mixer, but like I was more along the lines of like, I respected you when we were in school together. And like, I really liked like how you handled yourself, but like he was just lying. Like he was just trying to like get in her pants the whole time. So it's like showcasing like him and then showcasing like Izumi. I really like Izumi like opening up about the difference between like emotionally liking somebody and physically with him and Sugawara. I thought that was like a really like that's a thing for sure. Like I just thought that was like really handled really well. And just I don't think I've ever seen that in an anime when you sort of have to discuss like the difference between like emotionally falling in love with somebody and just thinking somebody is like super fucking hot. So that was cool. I love this show. I thought just like the dialogue was so handled so well. It was a great combination of just cringe but like informative and real dialogue that I would expect some girls to talk about. Didn't like the ending really, but like that's honestly really my only knock. Even though if I hated like the characters, I think they showcased like the male characters, that like the teacher and the director, even if I hated them as characters, I think they showcased what they were trying to in a really good way. So I'm gonna give the show a 9 out of 10.
Righty. And yeah, so I think a testament to the show's good stuff is the fact that we spent our over an hour talking about just the characters and their relationships and their arcs, so to speak. And we didn't even really talk about like the show on a broader sense, which part of that is just the nature of the show where it literally just jumps around from like this character's arc to this character's arc, like over like that's the show. And I do think that also speaks to the strength of the characters and how we could have kept going for all of the characters at least a little bit. I I would say that the character design was, I thought, pretty boring. Like, and that obviously isn't the point of the show, but I don't think it's like a strength of it either. I guess if that makes sense. It looks fine, doesn't look bad, doesn't look like particularly great either. I don't think, other than very specific moments, like a couple of those. I think Miles called. I don't know if you called them out in the episode, but you did in our Discord of like well animated scenes. I do want to highlight how awesome the dub was though. Localization on it. There was one translation when they were doing the names for sex on the whiteboards. That was so fucking funny. What was there was one in something.
Well, okay, so I didn't get those. So again, I went through them and did the thing. So there was Holy War.
That one, that was my favorite one. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Holy War, so fucking funny. Like,
spelled HOLEY
yeah,
WAR. You know, and then they had
under the sea.
yeah, six socks, sacks. They just like ran out of ideas, so they replaced the vowel in the word sex. So
it was funny. Like that was, those kinds of scenes were really good. And I think that they did a good job of like again, this is coming from a 26-year-old guy, but like I thought they showed like how a girl might think during puberty in a very lighthearted, comical way, and in a way that would be relatable or understandable for pretty much everybody, but in particular from a guy's perspective, since that is the target demographic. We didn't even get to talk about like stuff like that either, mainly because of the fact that it was time better spent talking about how great the characters. I agree with everyone else. The ending I did not like, and a couple of the characters were just not it for me. I think it was Jay who said it best, that like the character arcs finished well, like for the most part, but then the show itself's ending was just kind of of whack. I don't know, like where it felt like it came out of nowhere to me. I have this show at a very strong 7, where it was enjoyable, but I don't know. It also just is not made for me. Like, this is not the kind of show you would usually catch me watching. So I think it's I think that's like I'd give it a 7.5 if I could, but I can't because I make arbitrary rules and just like the girls in the show do. So there you go. I guess that wraps up our watch club for O Maidens Year Savage season. We ended up with an 8.0 average score out of 10, which is about 0.7 higher than the 7.3 on Mal that this show has. So we generally liked it. I think again, cross board 5 recommendations, some with caveats. But yeah, Miles, you have what show we're watching in 2 weeks.
I do. Preferencing this with everyone, I'm going to recount because I had lost the initial votes that I made. I had the votes, but when I recounted, it was different than I remembered it being. So take all of this with a grain of salt because I just need to double check my math. Anyways, in third place is Rent a Girlfriend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Good.
Which
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's why I thought that just fucking won. I did. The entire time, but it apparently did not. In second place, Hellsing. Yeah, I'm literally going to do a recount. And in first place, we have Dance Dance Dancer.
Woo!
Um,
Let's go.
So yeah, that is the current case, and I will let people know if that changes.
That's what's up.
The Russians had something to do with this. Pete and his Russian collusion.
It's not even his show. It was my show, but I'm genuinely confused how it won. So,
And High School of the Dead didn't even place. That's tough.
Exactly something Pete would do to hide the fact that he was colluding with the Russians. Is
Yeah.
you to nominate it.
What did I vote for? Oh yeah.
You did Vanitas, I believe.
I did that.
You did Hellsing, I believe.
You did.
No, I know what I nominated. I was looking for what I voted for.
Oh,
I
you
voted for High
voted.
School of the Dead.
Yes. You voted Vanitas, Dance Dance, High School of the Dead, in that order.
Yes, I voted for High School of the Dead so that Rent a Girlfriend wouldn't get more points.
Yeah. And frankly, I didn't think it would matter, and it didn't, but in the opposite way that I did. Anyways, I'm going to get to doing that.
All right. But in the meantime, while Miles recounts, allegedly.
I sent you the
Share
thing.
your screen,
I know you-
Miles.
Yeah, I know.
Hold on a minute, player.
After the recount, the real winner is Hellsing. And now, back to the pod.
If you could, first, Miles, though, give us your 2-core show because it is time for 2-core nominations. We're gonna watch a 2-core show instead of the 1-core that we normally do. The Watch Club. It'll be our 5th or 6th time doing this, so that's pretty exciting. Miles, what have you got for us?
Yeah. So I had a couple different thoughts going into this. My first thought was like, what if I just did both seasons of G-Witch? I love that show. But then I was like, I can make that happen over time, in theory, via 1-core, right? Like that's a thing that I could get done that isn't only available at this time. And then I thought, I've been really meaning to watch Mushishi for like a long time. It's supposed to be good. So what about that? But then one of my people messaged me and they were like, you got to do it. And I'm like, we won't get there. And they were like, maybe not in this timeline, but maybe in a future one. So we're bringing it back. Higurashi season 2.
Ooh.
Let's make it happen.
Hig. Love it.
It won't win.
Love
You've
the
all
pick.
learned your lesson.
Love
You all
the
learned
pick.
your lesson.
Yeah, I hope we've learned our lesson. I do, but our voters might not have. Which is what scares me. Kat, what about you? What have you got?
Yeah, so I was thinking because there was a good 2 to 3 year stint where the one show I was nominating for 2-core was Fate Apocrypha. I was thinking about it. I really want to watch it. I want to watch it on the podcast because I don't want to watch it alone. But then I was like, you know what? Maybe not Fate Apocrypha. Maybe I'll have a better chance to win with a non-Apocrypha show. So I was looking, and I found Fate Grand Order.
Do Apocrypha. I'd rather. I
choose a different Fate show. I chose this for you, Miles. For you.
I'd rather be angry than watch mid.
That's a valid. Honestly, I can respect that. All right, so it's Fate. Grand Order?
Okay, God, we got there. That's good. I hope I don't rue the day, but
Oh, so it is Apocrypha instead. Okay.
it is like unironic. It's like my least favorite anime that doesn't have something like inherently like
Well,
about it. Like I fucking hate that show.
that's the one with the king of the femboys, right? What's his name? With their name, whatever.
Him. It's Astolfo.
It is him.
He
Okay.
very heavily identifies as male. It's part of his
Okay.
arc.
There we go. Okay, that'll be a fun one. Two great starts to this. Really. All right. Jay, what have you got? Please have some.
I think I'm
2
gonna.
seasons of Rent a Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm gonna swerve away from that, and I'm going to nominate the first season of Chihaya Furu.
You can't. I dibbed this 6 months ago.
Oh.
You cannot dibs the show.
6
Sounds like
months,
Pete didn't come
dude.
prepared.
I dibbed this so long ago.
Did you already watch it, Pete?
I'm watching it.
Okay. Jay, do you have a backup?
No.
Pete, do you have a backup?
I claimed this show 6 months ago. I've said this multiple times. I am nominating this show for 2 core.
Okay. We'll nominate it twice, but I'll count them separately.
Yes.
So
there we go. I
people
like
have
that.
to let me know if they're voting for Pete, Chihai Furu, or JG.
I like that. And yeah, that's good. All right. I guess
Splitting the vote has always been a great idea
well, yeah, it's just
historically.
yeah. I mean, when has it ever failed?
Which one of you is Mondale or whatever?
Yeah. The which one use Harris? Whoa, no, too close. All right. Let's I'll go, and then I guess Jay, you got to come up with another one. I don't know how else to resolve this, so I'm make you have to.
Yeah, the decision is Jay has to come up with something. Okay.
Yeah, like but in the meantime, I'll go. I was really tempted to. Hey, if you want to nominate my backup,
No.
I know.
I've never heard a Pat show and went, I want to nominate that. That show's fire. Never
Are you
in my
ready? Are you
life.
ready for Pat's nomination though? Because I think it's actually fire.
You nominated High School of the Dead from Pat.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
Wait, that actually happened.
it literally happened like not even a month ago. Yeah.
Just because I nominate something does not mean it's fire. I nominated Rent a Girlfriend last week.
That's true.
Rent a Girlfriend season isn't like the worst thing ever.
Jay,
But
you can't hold me accountable for my actions. What is this?
but anyways, all right. I was gonna nominate Raze Fan, the full like actual show.
Oh.
I'm curious how different it was from the movie, and it's been like what 2 years since we watched the movie or so.
I think it's been
At this
longer.
point, and probably been maybe even longer. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. Time is a flat circle. But I had no faith that it would win because it took forever to get Raze Fan across the line, and I just don't win anymore apparently on this show. So I'm gonna take the easy slam dunk winner that's probably gonna win just because of popular vote and stop the count, blah blah blah. I'm going Steins Gate because I also haven't watched it. So
Hell yeah. Great pick.
Gate. So
Uh,
I think it'll be really fun to talk about too. So
May 16th, 2022 was our Razefon episode.
so we did it in like
almost
April,
3
probably.
years ago.
Damn.
Mhm. At least 2.5. Wow, good for us. So yeah, I'm doing Steins Gate though, and yeah. So Jay, if you want to nominate Razefon, I don't even know.
No, I'm good. That show's trash. I'm going to nominate The Apothecary Diaries.
Oh shit!
Ooh.
Okay.
Apothecary Diaries.
I'm so torn because, like, yeah, I just want to talk about it though. Yeah, okay, I'm
I
not
would
really
like to
that
watch
torn.
it. That's a good pick.
Burley might actually join that episode if we do Apothecary Diaries.
Kayla was very mad at me because I was like, "Oh, we have more Apothecary Diaries to watch," and she was like very excited about it. And then she realized it was just one episode,
It's weekly.
Yeah.
and she
Yeah.
was just like, "Why did you do that?" And the next day, like we wake up, we're getting ready, and she just looks at me and is like, "I haven't forgiven you." It's just like, oh, okay.
This was your fault, Miles.
Based Kayla as usual. I also am glad I'm gonna binge this show and not watch it. Like, oh my god, I can't imagine watching Link Click seasonally. Oh
We
my
watched
god.
it weekly last the season. I don't know why she thought there would be a bunch of it.
I think she just hoped, and yeah, speaks to the state of the world media too, though, that like so many of the shows that we watch are not like seasonally dropped or like weekly dropped anymore. I don't know. That's a whole different podcast for a whole different day, for a whole different channel too, probably. We talk anime, and I think that wraps up our watch club for the day.
I didn't even get a chance to like pitch my show, but
You want to pitch your show?
yes, because Miles, you mentioned earlier that this show O Maidens was missing a love polygon tag. Guess what has a love polygon tag? Chihaya Furu. It's really good. We should all watch it.
Is it one where I might actually doubt who will
No,
win?
I'm not
Like
gonna
O Maidens?
I am picking the other guy that people don't like because I think he's better. So I think that'd be a really fun conversation. There's a Pete looking ass, and obviously I'm biased towards the Pete looking asses. So.
Okay. The set of Chihai Furu.
Yeah, and it's like a really cool. It's a really cool, interesting premise to like a sports story. It's a very different type of sport. So I think it'd be really interesting to get involved in checking out what Karuta is. But go vote for Chihaya Furu. But that is all for Watch Club. If you have made this far and you want to support us, the best way to do so: like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you're watching or listening to us on. Next week, Anime of the Year is here. We are doing our nomination episode. We have 16 categories. So we're going to be going over those. We will be talking about what was nominated. We also be revealing where we are donating our votes to. So if you vote for Anime of the Year, for a vote, we will be donating $1 to a specific cause. So look forward to that. Otherwise, if you're here for Watch Club, we will see you in 2 weeks for
Hellsing.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time. Peace.